Hi folks, how are you doing, and welcome to another van and country review and our thoughts about the Ring Automotive RTC6000. So regarding the unit itself then and the key accessories, you get the unit, a tube which is about 75 centimeters long for the inflation. You get a wall socket adapter which has a 1.8 meter length cable and a 3-pin plug for the unit on the end, and then what's traditionally known as the cigarette lighter adapter, which has a 3.5 meter cable and again the 3-pin adapter on the end. In addition to all the power connectivity that comes with the unit, there's also many adapters for the inflatable function and also for pumping up sports balls as well. There is also a small extension for the inflatable functionality. So looking at the function button, then we can turn it to tyre, and there's 3 options for the air pressure units: kPa, kilopascals, PSA, pounds per square inch, and also bar. With a dedicated inflatable function, this unit I believe is limited to 50 psi when doing inflatables. There is also a very handy light which works off the lithium ion battery, along with a USB functionality which is switchable on and off. The unit also has a very handy compartment for storage. You can either use that to store the adapters or cabling. I choose to use the 12 volt cigarette lighter charger cable, which is what I mainly carry. Okay, let's see the unit in action then. So our recommended tyre pressures for our camper van are 79.5 psi. On the unit, it's just a case of selecting which measurement you want. So we select psi and the target pressure. So that's 79.5. If you turn the unit off and back on, it will tell you the current pressure in the tyres. So we've got basically 2.5 psi to go. Engage the power button at the bottom there, and the unit will set about actually pumping the tyres to the target pressure. In terms of how long this unit takes to actually pump things up, this will give you an idea roughly how long it takes to go 2.5 bar. Right, another real world example then. Let's crawl underneath the van and check the tyre pressure of the spare wheel. I use a separate tyre pressure checker, which is really easy to use, just a case of pushing it up onto the valve, and you can see that this is around about 60 psi. So definitely needs a little bit of pressure in it. So we connect up the unit. There is a air release valve on the actual unit connector there. So if you can just see it there, the little black button. So if you do inflate the tyres, you can let a bit of air out quite easily. There you go, so it's showing it's 59.5, so there is about half a psi difference between the unit and the actual tyre pressure checker. So that's now going to set about pumping that to a target pressure of 79 psi. So in terms of the battery then, I think you'd probably get 2 full inflations out of this, but this isn't really a garage tyre inflator. This is a topping up inflator and for an emergency inflation. I also carry the connector with me to plug into either the van or into our big power bank so that we can power it. So I'm not too worried about the battery. Great to be able to have the battery and take down to the beach for an inflatable or something like that, but I certainly don't rely on the battery as the main capability for pumping up a tyre. Here then you can see the adapter is plugged in, and we have that plugged into our EcoFlow Delta 2, which I think has a 10 amp output versus the 5 amp output of the cigarette lighter in the van. As you can see, it's plugged in and working, and it's barely making a dent in the actual EcoFlow at all. One thing I would say about the 3-pin connectors, they are quite fragile. There's a lot to like about this unit, but there's a couple of things that are a little bit frustrating about it. The battery doesn't last very long, but as I say, we get around that by actually plugging it into the unit to power it. And then the other thing is about longevity. I really think that the connecting pins, the 3-pin connector that goes into the unit, is not going to last very long at all. It looks very weak and it's an unusual connector. But aside from that, we're really quite pleased with it. So because of the connectivity and the battery, I would take one off it being a 5-star review, and it's 4 stars from us for the RTC6000.